Welcome to Starbound, where every star tells a story. What happens when aliens come to witness our human weaponry and are shocked by their power? Let's get into the story. The colossal craft shuddered as it pierced the Earth's atmosphere, a silent leviathan against a backdrop of swirling crimson and orange. On board, the air thrummed with anticipation as the alien crew prepared for their descent. For centuries, the Celestial Council had pondered the enigma of humanity, a species known for their surprising capacity for both creation and destruction. Now, under the leadership of the Elder Ambassador, Irian, a team of scientists had been dispatched to Earth to unravel the enigma of human weaponry. Their destination, a remote, desolate expanse of land, once a bustling testing ground for Earth's military, now a silent testament to the destructive nature of human conflict. The air here was thick with a metallic tang, and the ground was scarred with craters and wreckage, remnants of a violent past. As they descended towards the dusty plain, Ayala, the young xenobiologist, pressed her face against the viewport. Her eyes sparkled with a mixture of apprehension and excitement. The stories she had heard back home painted a picture of humans as primitive, technologically inferior creatures. Yet, their recent conflict with a rival species, a conflict that had shaken the very foundations of galactic order, had forced them to reconsider. "Are you sure this is the right place, Irian?" Corvus, the seasoned strategist, asked, his voice tinged with skepticism. A creature of logic and pragmatism, he saw no sense in analyzing what he deemed rudimentary technology. The reports speak of a devastating weapon, but how can such crude tools be so effective? Irian, his eyes calm and composed, turned to his colleague. "It is precisely this paradox, Corvus, that we seek to understand. We must be open to the possibility that our assumptions about human technology are flawed." Their descent was smooth, the craft landing with a soft thud on a platform of hardened steel. It was here, in this silent graveyard of human innovation, that the journey to understand human warfare would begin. As the airlock hissed open, a group of human figures emerged, their faces a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. Dressed in simple clothing, they bore no signs of weapons or armor. This was the human contingent, the bridge between two vastly different worlds. "Welcome to Earth, esteemed guests," Lucian, the human representative, spoke in a voice that was both firm and welcoming. "I am Lucian, and I will be your guide." His words, though simple, carried an undeniable weight. He stood tall, his gaze unwavering, radiating an unexpected sense of strength. The aliens, used to dealing with species who bowed and cowered before their advanced technology, found themselves taken aback by the human's confident demeanor. "We are honored to be here, Lucian," Irian replied, extending a hand in a gesture of peace. "We come in peace, seeking knowledge and understanding." Lucian returned the gesture, a tentative smile gracing his lips. "I trust you will find what you seek, though I must warn you, the path ahead is not for the faint of heart." The alien scientists exchanged wary glances. It seemed their journey into the depths of human warfare was about to begin. The questions they sought answers to were numerous, but one question loomed above all others. Could simple tools wielded by a species they deemed primitive truly hold the power to shake the galactic order? Their answers, they knew, would reshape not only their understanding of human warfare, but also their own perceptions of themselves and their place within the vast expanse of the universe. The metallic air of the abandoned testing ground hung heavy, a stark contrast to the sterile atmosphere of the alien spaceship. Stepping out onto the cracked concrete platform, the scientists felt a prickling sensation of unease. The remnants of human wars were evident everywhere, twisted metal carcasses, cratered earth, and a pervasive sense of desolation. This is hardly a place for scientific investigation," Corvus muttered, his antennae twitching in disapproval. "Where are the sophisticated laboratories, the intricate machinery? This is a graveyard, not a testing ground." Ayala, ever the eager student, knelt down to examine a shard of metal, its surface etched with strange markings. "It's simpler than I imagined," she whispered, her voice laced with a hint of disappointment. "But it seems functional. Perhaps what, Ayala?" Corvus snapped, his voice sharp. "Perhaps this functionality is a mere illusion, a facade masking the true incompetence of human technology." Lucian, observing the scene with a mixture of amusement and sympathy, stepped forward.
We humans tend to value practicality over complexity, Corvus. These weapons may appear rudimentary, but their effectiveness lies in their function, not their form. Elian, the engineer, ignored Corvus's scoff and gestured towards a massive rusted cylinder. This, my friends, is a cannon, according to our translator. It seems deceptively simple, but it has the capacity to launch projectiles with incredible force. He reached out, his slender fingers tracing the rough surface of the cannon. He felt the vibrations in the metal, a faint tremor that hinted at the raw power it held. The sheer size of the weapon, however, left him unconvinced. How can such a crude contraption be effective against sophisticated defenses? It's like wielding a blunt rock against a laser beam. Not all battles are fought with lasers, Elian, Lucian said, his tone calm yet firm. Sometimes a well-placed rock can be just as devastating. The aliens, perplexed and unconvinced, followed Lucian as he led them deeper into the testing ground. They were shown projectiles, each one a testament to human ingenuity. They touched the smooth surfaces of polished bullets, felt the heft of grenades, and examined the intricate workings of a device called a rocket launcher. Corvus, his antennae twitching in skepticism, picked up a bullet, its shape oddly familiar. This seems to be a primitive projectile, designed to inflict damage through kinetic energy. And quite effective it is, Lucien said, his voice laced with subtle pride. These projectiles are designed to pierce armor, to shatter bone, to disrupt systems. They rely on simple physics, yes, but the results are anything but simple. Despite his skepticism, Corvus couldn't help but feel a growing intrigue. He began to see the potential for these weapons, the way they exploited vulnerabilities in technology and biology. Perhaps, he admitted to himself, there was more to human weaponry than met the eye. Ayala, meanwhile, was engrossed in a collection of worn manuals. She discovered diagrams of human weapon systems, showing the intricate design and functioning of each component. She studied the descriptions, searching for clues to the hidden logic behind their design. A pattern began to emerge. The humans, though lacking the advanced technology of their alien counterparts, had mastered the art of simplicity, focusing on practicality and efficiency. "It's elegant, in a way," she whispered, captivated by the human ingenuity she witnessed. They've learned to exploit the very strengths of their enemies, their weaknesses, and their vulnerabilities. The day progressed, the alien scientists delving deeper into the mysteries of human weaponry. Their initial disbelief steadily began to crumble, replaced by a cautious curiosity. As they examined the weapons, they found themselves questioning the very foundations of their own understanding of warfare. The human approach, with its emphasis on practicality and adaptability, was a stark contrast to their own strategies, which relied heavily on overwhelming firepower and technological superiority. The testing ground, once a symbol of human failure, had become a crucible for the alien scientists, forcing them to confront the limitations of their own preconceived notions. The unsettling truth began to dawn on them. Human ingenuity, combined with a deep understanding of their own vulnerabilities, could prove to be a far more potent force than they had initially imagined. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the abandoned testing ground, painting the desolate landscape in hues of burnt orange and deep purple. The silence was broken only by the occasional rustle of wind through the skeletal remains of rusted machinery, whispering tales of a forgotten conflict. The alien scientists, their initial skepticism gradually giving way to a grudging fascination, gathered around Lucian, their human guide. "You call these guns?" Elian, the engineer, held a crude-looking firearm, his slender fingers tracing the intricate carvings on its metal frame. "They seem remarkably simple. A child could build one." "And many children," Lucian said, a hint of dry humor in his voice, "have learned how to use them." Ayala, the young xenobiologist, examined a small metallic cylinder with a curious glint in her eye. "It's a grenade, according to our translator. It looks innocuous enough. How can such a small object be so devastating?" Lucian, sensing their bewilderment, gestured towards a pile of rubble, a chilling reminder of the weapon's power. This was a bunker, a place humans used for protection. The grenade, despite its size, can create a tremendous blast strong enough to collapse this entire structure. Corvus, ever the pragmatist, remained unimpressed. Such destructive capability seems inefficient. Surely a more precise method would be more effective. Lucian tilted his head, his gaze meeting Corvus's. Effectiveness is not always about precision, Corvus. Sometimes it's about overwhelming the enemy, about exploiting their weaknesses. A grenade, while simple, can cause chaos, disrupt lines of defense, and force the enemy to retreat. Remember, war is more than just technology. It's about strategy, about understanding your opponent's vulnerabilities, and about exploiting them. As the alien scientist listened intently, Lucian began to weave a tapestry of stories, each one a testament to human ingenuity in the face of adversity. He spoke of brave soldiers using their limited resources to outwit their enemies, of ingenious engineers crafting makeshift weapons from scrap metal, of ordinary citizens banding together to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. Ayala, her fascination growing with each tale, interrupted Lucian. It seems the humans have a knack for adapting, for using what's available to them. They're not afraid to think outside the box, to experiment, to improvise. Lucian nodded, a thoughtful expression on his face. We humans have learned to survive, to thrive, even when faced with overwhelming odds. This is what makes us resilient, adaptable, and unpredictable, qualities that can prove to be our greatest strength. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the ravaged landscape, the alien scientists pondered what they had learned. They had witnessed the effectiveness of human weaponry, not through sheer force of technology, but through clever design, adaptability, and a deep understanding of their own vulnerabilities. Elian, still skeptical but with a glimmer of respect in his eyes, looked at Lucian. We've underestimated human ingenuity, haven't we? Your weapons, while simple, are not without their sophistication. Corvus, his expression softened, added, Indeed. Their simplicity masks a deeper understanding of the principles of warfare, a strategic brilliance that we have overlooked. Lucian smiled, a sense of pride mixed with relief. We may not have advanced technology, but we do have something else. A will to survive, a capacity to innovate, a willingness to fight for what we believe in. Perhaps, the aliens thought, their assumptions about humanity were flawed. Perhaps Earth, a world they had deemed primitive, held lessons that even the most technologically advanced civilization could learn. As they prepared to return to their spaceship, the alien scientists felt a newfound respect for the human spirit, a powerful force that could not be measured solely by technology. The journey to understand human warfare was only just beginning, but one thing they knew for sure: it would be a journey filled with surprises. The alien scientists, their initial skepticism gradually replaced by curiosity, sat in a circle around Lucian, their human guide. The remnants of the testing ground lay silent around them, the air filled with the scent of earth and metal, a stark reminder of the violence that had once transpired here. Ayala, the young xenobiologist, sat with her legs crossed, her eyes wide with a mixture of awe and confusion. The weapons themselves, she began, her voice barely a whisper. It's not just their design, their function, that is surprising. It's the stories behind them, the motivations. Lucian, observing the scientists intently, nodded, understanding the unspoken question in Ayala's eyes. He knew that understanding the weapons was one thing, but understanding the human heart, the human will that fueled their creation and deployment, was another entirely. He reached out and picked up a worn, leather-bound book lying on the ground. It was a tattered military manual filled with faded diagrams and handwritten notes. This, he said, handing the book to Ayala, is a relic from a war fought centuries ago. It details the strategy, the tactics, the very human thinking that went into the development of the weapons you see here. Ayala carefully turned the pages, her fingers tracing the faded words and illustrations. She saw diagrams of complex military formations, descriptions of battlefields and strategies, and glimpses into the minds of the humans who had designed and wielded these weapons. It's fascinating, Ayala said, her voice filled with a mixture of wonder and unease. These humans, they understood the power of their weapons, but they also understood the weight of their use. War, it seems, is more than just a tool. It's a reflection of their culture, their history, their humanity. Corvus, his antennae twitching in skepticism, leaned forward. Humanity. This is a testament to their brutality, not their benevolence. The stories you tell, the weapons you show us, they paint a picture of a species driven by a thirst for conquest, a need to dominate. That's a very narrow view, Corvus, Lucien countered, his voice calm but firm. Yes, these weapons were used in war, but they were also used to protect, to defend, to liberate. The stories hidden in these manuals, they speak of a people who fought for freedom, for justice, for a better future. Elian, the engineer, his eyes glued to a diagram of a complex weapon system, chimed in. War is a reflection of a civilization's progress. The technology developed for war can be used for peace, for advancement, for building a better future. Ayala, her gaze flickering between the book and the faces of the alien scientists, felt a growing sense of urgency. What we are seeing here, she said, her voice filled with conviction, is not just a collection of weapons, but a reflection of the human spirit. Their history, their struggles, their triumphs, their failures, they are all woven into the very fabric of these weapons and the stories they tell. Lucien nodded, his eyes filled with a profound sense of understanding. The humans, he said, are a complex species. We are capable of great compassion and great cruelty, of great innovation and great folly. Our weapons, they are a reflection of that complexity. The alien scientists, their minds buzzing with a myriad of thoughts and emotions, continued to pore over the military manual. They saw the echoes of history in every page, the struggle for survival, the desire for peace, and the human capacity for both good and evil. The weapons, they realized, were not simply tools of destruction, but testaments to a species grappling with its own nature, with its own humanity. As the shadows lengthened and the setting sun cast a warm glow over the abandoned testing ground, the alien scientists found themselves at a crossroads. They had come to Earth to study human weaponry, but they were leaving with a deeper understanding of the human spirit, a spirit that was both fragile and resilient, both destructive and hopeful. The journey to understand human warfare had only just begun, but one thing was clear. The true measure of a civilization wasn't just its technology, but the very essence of its humanity. The air hung heavy with the scent of rust and dust, a stark contrast to the sterile, sanitized atmosphere of the alien spaceship. The testing ground, a desolate graveyard of human ingenuity, seemed to echo with the weight of the past. Ayala sat hunched over a datapad, her brow furrowed in concentration. The young xenobiologist was engrossed in the complexities of human weaponry, diligently cataloging the details of each component, every intricate piece working in concert to create a devastating effect. The simplicity of their design was both alluring and baffling. It's like a tapestry, she mused, her fingers tracing the image of a grenade on the screen. Each strand, each thread, seemingly insignificant, yet interwoven to create a powerful whole. Suddenly, a harsh voice cut through her contemplative murmur. Simple, perhaps? Effective, yes, but devoid of the sophistication, the precision that marks true technological advancement. Corvus, the seasoned strategist, stood beside her, his antennae twitching. His gaze was fixed on a towering rusted metal structure, a monument to the destructive power of a weapon called a rocket launcher. This is what I find most perplexing, he continued, his voice laced with disdain. The humans rely on brute force, on sheer destructive potential, rather than precision, refinement, or strategic nuance. Ayala, her eyes widening with surprise, turned to face him. Brute force? I wouldn't say that. These weapons are designed to exploit vulnerabilities, to utilize weaknesses. Look at this. A simple bullet, yet capable of shattering armor, piercing flesh. They understand the limitations of their technology and use it strategically. A heated argument erupted, each scientist echoing the conflicting perspectives they had developed. Corvus, rooted in the principles of his own advanced civilization, saw human weapons as crude and inefficient. Ayala, however, was captivated by their strategic brilliance, their ingenuity in adapting limited resources to their advantage. Elian, the brilliant engineer, his eyes shimmering with a mixture of fascination and frustration, abruptly joined the fray. It's like a dance between chaos and order. They leverage chaos to exploit the order they've created. He gestured towards the remnants of a battlefield, a chaotic ballet of destruction. But we lack the tools to fully analyze it, he lamented, his voice tinged with frustration. We lack the data, the context, to understand the true depth of their strategy. The debate intensified, fueled by the clashing ideologies of two civilizations. They were stuck in a stalemate, unable to reconcile their perspectives. The questions remained unanswered. How did this primitive technology achieve such devastating effectiveness? How did humans, with their seemingly limited resources, manage to exploit the weaknesses of their opponents with such precision? Lucian, their human guide, observed the scene with a gentle smile. He understood the complexities of the situation, the cultural chasm that separated the scientists. He too had been a skeptic, once viewing the aliens with suspicion and fear, but his journey with them had opened his eyes, revealed a shared humanity, a common thread of curiosity and a thirst for understanding. Perhaps, he suggested, his voice calm and reassuring, we are focusing too much on the weapons themselves. Perhaps the true brilliance lies not in the technology, but in the human mind that designed and utilized it. Irian, the wise ambassador, stepped forward, his eyes radiating a calm authority that tempered the heated debate. We are here to learn, not to judge. Our journey is one of discovery, of embracing the unknown. Let us shift our focus from the weapons to the minds that wield them. He gestured towards a collection of documents, records, and handwritten notes scattered across the ground. These remnants, these whispers from the past, they hold a valuable insight into the human psyche, the mental framework that drives their strategies. The alien scientists, their heated debate momentarily silenced, turned their attention to the documents. They were facing a new challenge, a shift in perspective that could unlock the mysteries of human warfare. The path to understanding was not found in the weapons themselves, but in the minds that created them. The alien scientists gathered in a vast metallic chamber, its walls shimmering with holographic projections. It was a replica of the abandoned testing ground, a digitally reconstructed battlefield where they could analyze human weaponry in a safe, controlled environment. Irian, the ambassador, stood at the center of the room, his gaze sweeping over the faces of his team. This, he said, his voice resonating with a mix of anticipation and excitement, is the next step in our investigation. Here we will simulate a conflict using the data we've gathered and the understanding we've gained. Ayala, her eyes sparkling with scientific curiosity, leaned forward. A simulation? But how? We don't have the same weapons, the same technology. We will use our technology, Corvus said, his antennae twitching with a sense of calculated confidence. We will create simulations of human weapons based on the data we have gathered. The goal is to understand how they are used, how their strategies unfold. Elian, however, was skeptical. Simulations are a pale imitation of reality. The real battlefield is filled with unpredictable variables, with the chaos of human emotions and the unpredictability of human actions. Indeed, Irian acknowledged, but this simulation will serve as a controlled environment, a testing ground for our theories. We will observe the strategies, the tactics, and analyze the effectiveness of these seemingly simple weapons. The chamber hummed to life as holographic projections filled the space, creating a digital replica of the testing ground. Rusted metal structures, shattered concrete, and faded markings materialized in the air, a ghostly echo of the real battlefield. We've been studying the human psyche, their motivations, Ayala said, her voice tinged with wonder. They seem driven by a desire for freedom, for justice, for a better future. These factors play a large part in their strategies. And we must account for them, Corvus said, his gaze unwavering. We must understand how their emotions, their beliefs drive their actions. Lucian, standing beside them, nodded. Warfare isn't simply about technology. It's about the human will. It's about the stories that shape their actions, the values they hold dear. The simulation began. Holographic representations of human soldiers, equipped with replicas of their weapons, moved across the battlefield. They were programmed with human psychology, their actions dictated by their motivations, their strategies informed by their history. The alien scientists observed with a mixture of fascination and trepidation. The initial stages of the simulation unfolded as expected. The human soldiers, using their rudimentary weapons, engaged in a chaotic but surprisingly effective battle. They utilized their knowledge of the terrain, their ability to adapt to unforeseen circumstances, and their cunning strategies to outmaneuver their opponents. "Look," Elian whispered, his eyes widening in surprise. "They're utilizing the environment to their advantage. They're creating diversions, flanking their enemies, exploiting vulnerabilities." "Their strategies are surprisingly sophisticated," Corvus remarked, his skepticism fading into a cautious respect. "They seem to understand the principles of warfare, even without our advanced technology." The simulation progressed, reaching a crucial point. The human soldiers, outnumbered and outgunned, faced a seemingly insurmountable obstacle, but they did not falter. They adapted, improvised, and turned their weaknesses into strengths, utilizing their ingenuity to overcome the challenge. The alien scientists watched in awe as the human soldiers, with their simple weapons and their strategic brilliance, achieved victory against all odds. The simulation had revealed a profound truth. Human warfare, while seemingly crude and inefficient, was a powerful force, driven by a combination of ingenuity, adaptability, and a deep understanding of their own vulnerabilities. "They are a remarkable species," Irian said, his voice filled with respect. "They have taught us valuable lessons that we can apply to our own strategies." As the simulation concluded, the alien scientists stood in silence, their minds filled with newfound insights. They had come to Earth to study human warfare, but they were leaving with a deeper understanding of the human spirit, a spirit that defied their preconceived notions of superiority and challenged the very foundations of their understanding of warfare. The air vibrated with the hum of energy as the holographic simulation unfolded. The alien scientists, their faces illuminated by the digital battlefield, watched with a mix of fascination and skepticism. This was a crucial moment in their investigation, a test of their understanding of human warfare strategies. The simulated landscape mirrored the abandoned testing ground, its rusty remnants and jagged craters a stark reminder of human conflict. The holographic soldiers, their actions dictated by algorithms programmed with human psychology, engaged in a simulated battle. Corvus, the seasoned strategist, observed with a critical eye. "Their movements are erratic," he muttered, his antennae twitching in disapproval. "They lack the coordination, the disciplined formations of our own military." Ayala, ever the eager student, countered. "But their movements are unpredictable. They seem to favor fluid tactics, adapting to the changing circumstances." Elian, the engineer, his gaze fixed on a holographic representation of a human soldier, pointed out a curious detail. "They're using their environment to their advantage. They're funneling their enemies into choke points, utilizing natural obstacles to their benefit." Irion, the ambassador, however, remained focused on the overarching strategy. He had been studying the human psyche, the motivations that drove their actions. "Their goal," he said, his voice low and contemplative, "is not just to defeat their enemy. It's to protect something, to secure something that they hold dear." The simulation reached a critical point. The holographic human soldiers, outnumbered and outmaneuvered, appeared on the verge of defeat. Their movements were frantic, their strategies faltering. Even Corvus, despite his initial skepticism, felt a surge of unease. "They're losing ground," he said, his voice laced with worry. "Their tactics are failing." But then, something unexpected happened. Lucian, their human guide, who had remained silent throughout the simulation, stepped forward. "Observe," he said, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "They're not surrendering. They're changing their approach." The holographic soldiers, instead of retreating or engaging in a direct confrontation, utilized a seemingly unorthodox strategy. They employed a tactic that the alien scientists had never before encountered in their extensive studies of warfare. The soldiers strategically retreated, drawing their enemies into a carefully orchestrated trap. "They're baiting them," Irian exclaimed, his eyes widening in surprise. "They're using their perceived weakness to their advantage." The human soldiers, using a combination of simple technology and clever maneuvers, managed to turn the tide of the battle. Through a series of calculated movements and well-timed attacks, they exploited their enemies' vulnerabilities, leading to a resounding victory. The alien scientists, stunned by the outcome, exchanged bewildered glances. It was a strategy so deceptively simple, yet so effective, that they struggled to comprehend it. The human soldiers had utilized their ingenuity, their adaptability, and their understanding of their own limitations to achieve a remarkable triumph. "They're not just fighting," Corvus said, his voice filled with a newfound respect. "They're thinking, they're adapting, they're exploiting their opponent's weaknesses." Ayala, her eyes shining with a mixture of awe and wonder, added, "They're not just soldiers, they're strategists. They're artists of warfare." The simulation ended, leaving the alien scientists in a state of profound reflection. The human strategy, while seemingly unorthodox, had proven to be remarkably effective. It had challenged their assumptions about human warfare, highlighting the importance of ingenuity, adaptability, and a deep understanding of the human psyche. As they prepared to leave the simulation chamber, Irian addressed his team. "We have much to learn from this species," he said, his voice firm with newfound conviction. "They have taught us that warfare is not simply a matter of brute force or technological superiority. It is an art, a science infused with the complexities of human thought and emotions." The aliens had come to Earth to study human weaponry, but they were leaving with a deeper understanding of human warfare, a profound appreciation for the human spirit, and a newfound respect for the simple tools that could hold the key to victory against overwhelming odds. The silence in the alien spaceship was thick with unvoiced questions. The crew, their faces etched with a mixture of confusion and newfound respect, gathered in the main observation deck. The holographic projections of the simulated battlefield still lingered, a stark reminder of the unexpected victory they had witnessed. Elian, the engineer, paced restlessly, his fingers tracing the smooth surface of his datapad. "It's almost as if they're predicting the future," he muttered, his voice tinged with a mixture of awe and frustration. "They anticipate every move, every counterattack. Their strategy is more than just tactics. It's a dance of calculated risk and calculated reward." Corvus, the seasoned strategist, remained silent, his antennae twitching in thought. The events of the simulation had shaken his deeply ingrained beliefs about human warfare. Their lack of advanced technology, their reliance on seemingly simple tools, had been a constant source of skepticism for him. But the human soldiers' uncanny ability to outmaneuver and outwit their enemies, even in situations of overwhelming odds, had forced him to reconsider his assumptions. Ayala, the young xenobiologist, sat perched on the edge of a console, her eyes wide with fascination. She had spent hours poring over data, studying human culture, their history, their values. "It's not just their technology," she said, her voice filled with newfound understanding. "It's the way they utilize their resources, their understanding of their own limitations. They're not afraid to embrace their vulnerability, to adapt, to evolve." Irian, the ambassador, watched his crew with a mix of concern and pride. He knew that the knowledge they had gained on Earth would have profound implications for their own civilization. The humans, a species they had once considered primitive, had shown them a new way of thinking, a new approach to warfare that was both unexpected and effective. "We are facing a profound dilemma," he said, his voice resonating with the weight of his words. "The humans, with their simple tools and their strategic brilliance, have challenged our own understanding of warfare. They have pushed us to question our assumptions, to reconsider our own tactics, our own strategies." The silence returned, thick and heavy, carrying the weight of their unspoken anxieties. The crew understood that the information they had gathered on Earth could not remain a secret. Sharing their findings with their superiors, with the Celestial Council, would inevitably lead to change that could be both beneficial and disruptive, a ripple effect that would spread throughout their entire civilization. Corvus, his antennae twitching with a mix of apprehension and anticipation, broke the silence. "We must be prepared for the impact. Their strategies, their approach to warfare, could revolutionize our own tactics. It is imperative that we understand the implications of this discovery." Ayala, her eyes sparkling with curiosity, added, "And we must be careful how we share this information. We cannot simply impose human strategies on our own culture. We must find a way to integrate their knowledge with our own, to create a new understanding of warfare that is both effective and ethical." The alien scientists, their minds filled with a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions, knew that their journey to Earth had been nothing short of transformative. The humans, A species they had previously underestimated had challenged their preconceived notions, forcing them to confront the limitations of their own understanding. As they prepared for their return to Celestia, a sense of purpose filled their hearts. They carried with them not just a wealth of knowledge, but a profound realization. The true measure of a civilization's strength did not lie solely in its technology, but in its ability to adapt, to innovate, and to learn from the unexpected sources of wisdom found in the vast expanse of the universe. The alien spaceship, a sleek, metallic vessel that hummed with a symphony of advanced technology, pierced through the Earth's atmosphere. On board, the atmosphere was a stark contrast to the chaotic energy of their initial arrival. A sense of quiet contemplation hung in the air, the silence broken only by the rhythmic whirring of the engines. The alien scientists, their faces a mix of thoughtful reflection and quiet exhilaration, gathered in the main observation deck. The Earth, a swirling blue and green orb, hung in the viewport, a breathtaking testament to the power and beauty of a planet they had come to understand with a renewed perspective. "We are leaving Earth," Irian the ambassador said, his voice a gentle rumble that echoed through the chamber. "We are returning to Celestia, our home, yet we are not the same beings who embarked on this journey." The scientists, each carrying a weight of newfound knowledge and a profound sense of change, nodded in agreement. The abandoned testing ground, with its rusted relics and haunting silence, had become a crucible of learning. They had come to study human weaponry, but they had departed with a deeper understanding of the human spirit, a spirit that defied their preconceived notions of superiority and challenged the very foundations of their understanding of warfare. Corvus, the seasoned strategist, sat with his legs crossed, his antennae twitching in a rhythmic pattern. The weight of his discovery, the realization that human strategy could be more effective than even the most sophisticated technology, weighed heavily on his mind. "We must integrate what we've learned into our own tactics," he declared, his voice surprisingly filled with a newfound respect. "We must find a balance, a way to combine the best of our technological advancements with the adaptability and strategic brilliance of the humans." Ayala leaned forward, her eyes filled with the infectious enthusiasm of a mind teeming with possibilities. "We could develop simulations to incorporate human strategies into our training," she suggested, her voice buzzing with excitement. "We could study their history, their culture, to gain a better understanding of the motivations that drive their actions." Elian, the engineer, his eyes alight with a mix of curiosity and trepidation, added, "We must be careful, however. We cannot simply copy their tactics. We must adapt them, tailor them to fit our own technology and our own way of life." Irian, his gaze fixed on the receding Earth, nodded. "We must proceed with wisdom and caution," he said, his voice measured with the gravity of his responsibility. "We must be mindful of the cultural differences, the ethical implications, the potential pitfalls. This knowledge, this new understanding is a powerful tool, one that must be wielded with respect and understanding." Their journey was not an end, but a beginning. They would share their findings with their peers, with the Celestial Council, and with the wider galactic community. They would bring back not just a collection of data, but a new perspective, a challenge to the long-held beliefs about humanity, about warfare, about the very nature of civilization itself. The Earth, a distant blue and green gem fading into the vast expanse of space, represented a profound lesson. It was a testament to the resilience of a species, the adaptability of a culture, the power of human ingenuity to overcome even the most seemingly insurmountable obstacles. It was a reminder that true strength lay not in technology alone, but in the ability to learn, to adapt, to embrace the unexpected, and to find wisdom in the most unlikely of places. As the alien spaceship journeyed back to Celestia, the crew carried with them not just a collection of data and observations, but a profound sense of change, a new understanding of themselves and their place in the universe. The ripple effect of their discoveries would spread far and wide, challenging preconceived notions, transforming beliefs, and ushering in a new era of understanding between two civilizations once considered vastly different. The future, they knew, was filled with both challenges and opportunities, and they, the alien scientists, were ready to embrace it, to build a bridge of knowledge, respect, and understanding between worlds.